Who is the creator and what is the creation? Now that we've had that overview, let's focus in on the first event that begins everything, the event that founded this tri-universe of time, space, and matter. We start with another great quotation from that great product of the Reformation of 500 years past, the Westminster Confession, where we read, "It pleased God the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, for the manifestation of the glory of his eternal power, wisdom, and goodness, in the beginning to create or make of nothing the world, and all things therein, whether visible or invisible, in the space of 6 days, and all very good." Beautiful, succinct statement about the creation recorded in Genesis 1 and 2. So this confession affirms that the God of the Bible is the one true God, eternally pre-existent, who created this entire universe and everything in it, including time itself, in 6 literal days. Well, time he created on day 1, but everything in the universe in 6 literal days, and day 1 was the beginning of time. And it's so critical to see. As Genesis 1:1 states, in the beginning, time, God created the heavens, space, and the earth, matter. That's how day 1 begins, with God's creation of the tri-universe, reflecting its creator, the triune God. And on day 1, God defined what a day is, evening and morning, that is, a 24-hour day, and he named that first day he created day, or yom in Hebrew. And by the way, it seems to be the case that Hebrew was the first language, the pre-Babel one tongue of Adam's race, since the words God uses in Genesis 1 to 11 are evidently not translations from another language, but the original language in which the terms were coined. The Westminster Confession goes on to state about the nature of this creator, and this is so critical because, well, we'll see, it's the basis of the most basic scientific principle of this universe. So the confession states, "There is but one only living and true God, who is infinite in being and perfection, a most pure spirit, invisible, immutable, immense, eternal, incomprehensible, almighty, most wise, most holy, most free, most absolute, working all things according to the counsel of his own immutable and most righteous will, for his own glory, most loving, gracious, merciful, long-suffering, abundant in goodness and truth, forgiving iniquity, transgression, and sin, the rewarder of them that diligently seek him, and withal most just and terrible in his judgments, hating all sin, and who will by no means clear the guilty." So here we have affirmation of the character, the nature of the biblical creator God, as revealed both in his book, the Bible, as well as in what he has made, including you and me and all this universe. And we took a moment to look at the revealed nature and character of our eternally pre-existent creator God because it has direct bearing, as I was saying, on what he has made, on this universe, including Adam's race, you and me. Perhaps the most basic law of nature of science is the law of causation, cause and effect. There is no effect without a cause, and the cause is always greater than the effect. It's a very simple principle that we know is true and applies everywhere in the universe. And let's think about that for a moment as we consider this universe in all its order, complexity, self-evident design, purpose, meaning, and so forth. Clearly, this universe and you and I are not accidents, as the myth of the Big Bang and evolution claim. We have a cause. That cause must be greater than us. The cause of this universe must be greater than this universe. Unlike the unscientific myth of the accidental chance-random Big Bang and accidental chance-random myth of evolution, the great Henry Morris, the father of modern creation science, who picked up and carried on the torch of men like Sir Isaac Newton and the founders of science itself, Henry Morris observes that the first cause of seemingly limitless space, this universe, must actually be infinite in extent, as we have on the slide there. As we saw in the confession, as the Bible states, God is infinite in being and perfection. The first cause of seemingly endless time must actually be eternal in duration. Right? The biblical creator God uniquely is eternal from eternity past, even though that's a self-contradictory statement. Anyways, because God is outside of time is the point. That's the biblical doctrine there. So there's no past, present, or future for God. He sees it all, and he's present in all, and he created time. No other religion or philosophy proposes the existence of an eternal being. Only the Bible on the one true God reveals that he is eternal. So only the Bible of the one true God reveals that he is eternal. And only an eternal God can be the cause of the effect of seemingly eternal time. You see that? So we can see that the biblical creator God and what God says in the scriptures, that's the basis of true science, of real science, of the scientific method. Evolution cannot form the basis of science. Evolution is contrary to science itself. The first cause of seemingly perpetual motion, the endlessly spinning galaxies, stars, and planets, and so forth, and atoms and everything, must be actually omnipotent in power. And only the biblical creator God is described as omnipotent, almighty, his power having no limit. Only he is sufficient cause for perpetual motion. Everything in the universe is in perpetual motion. Only such a God could be the cause of the seemingly limitless, unending motion in this universe. The first cause of seemingly unbounded variety, the endless variability in creation, must be actually omnipresent in phenomena. The cause of this effect must be everywhere, in and through all things, himself being endlessly creative. And that's the biblical creator God, and only the Bible presents us with such a being. You won't find it in any other religion or philosophy. The first cause of seemingly infinite complexity, the incredible, intricate, yet orderly design of living things, must be actually omniscient, all-knowing, possessing all science. So, omniscient in intelligence, having all intelligence. The first cause of human consciousness must be a surpassingly personal being. Adam's race are conscious, self-aware, and aware of the personhood of others as well. Well, then the cause of that effect must be an even more conscious, perfectly aware, socially aware being, who creates persons in his own image with a definite consciousness of their own personhood. The first cause of feeling must be an emotional being with an even greater perfect sense of feeling. The first cause of will, of purpose, must be a volitional being with an even greater sense of purpose, design, and meaning. The first cause of ethical values, of morality, must be a perfectly moral being with a perfect sense of right and wrong, true and false. The first cause of religious values must be a perfectly, surpassingly spiritual being. The first cause of beauty must be a surpassingly beautiful, aesthetic being. The first cause of righteousness must be a perfectly righteous or holy being. The first cause of justice must be a surpassingly, perfectly just being. And the first cause of love must be a perfectly loving being. The first cause of life itself must be life itself, the one who has ever lived, in whom all life is found, and the source and sustenance of all living things. The great Henry Morris, therefore concludes, thus, reasoning from cause and effect leads us to conclude that the great first cause of all things, the prime mover, is an infinite, eternal, omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient, personal, emotional, volitional, moral, spiritual, aesthetic, holy, just, loving, living being. And this, of course, is nothing less than a character description of the God of the Bible. Uniquely so. Only the God of the Bible fits that description, which is necessitated by the effects we see around us and that we ourselves are when we look in the mirror. The first cause, the only cause that can be found that fits what is needed scientifically, is the God of the Bible. You won't find any similar being described in any mythology, any other religion, or any philosophy. Only the Christian Bible provides Adam's race with the revelation of the description of the first cause, the source, the creator of this universe, and of you and me.